as you may already know, your brand identity has so many elements. And your online presence, that digital stuff you put out there, is your online presence, and it's how you spread your story, how you spread your brand story, how your social media platforms look. What are they saying to your audience? Are they aligned with each other? Is your website on point for your brand? Remember, a brand that stands out is clear, concise, and consistent in everything that you do. And today we're going to discuss your online digital presence, but you know the drill. You got to wait right there because I'm going to come back with that in just a minute. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, a civil engineer and attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade for All Seasons, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Hello, Virtual Nation. Thank you for joining us for episode 104 of Waist Up Wardrobe. 104 is 2 years of podcasting for Waist Up Wardrobe. And exactly 2 years ago, I started the show to bring you episodes on how to show up on camera, looking your best and putting your best face forward. So today, with episode 104, we're continuing a series called the BRANDstyling series and talking about a really important module when it comes to branding. But before I get started, I want to say thank you for being here yet one more show with us. Know that we are on iTunes. You can go rate us and review us there. We are on YouTube. We are here on Facebook every Thursday at 11:30, showing up for a new show, a new fresh idea and show that helps you as an entrepreneur not only show up online in a dynamic way where you dominate from behind the desk, but also it helps you show up in business because everything we do here is about entrepreneurship. So thank you to Rick Moscoso, my producer, who's always here in the production room, making everything happen. And I have to say, today has been sort of one of those days, right? There's always a day where you feel like, boy, did I overload myself or what? I feel like I did that today, but we don't miss a show. We try not to miss a show. We can count on one hand how many shows have been pre-recorded, but we really want to make sure we stay consistent for you, our audience. Okay, so we're going to be continuing the conversation about brand identity and brand styling, building that brand that stands out. And I'm just going to reiterate this for anybody out there that's a startup or is a established brand. You want to always make sure that everything you put out there, whether it's online or in the spoken word or anywhere really in video, that you are staying very on brand. And how does that mean? Well, a good brand that stands out, and I've repeated this many times before, is a clear brand. It's concise and it's consistent. It's aligned in every area and everything that it does. That's what a standout brand is. And every business, in order to make a name for itself in the industry, should strive to stand out above its competitor and in the industry and in the market, right? So today we're going to talk about that one module that I usually help my clients with. It's sort of the fourth module in my process, and it's about developing your online presence. And it's about what you put out there digitally and how do you align that. So things like the main thing here is knowing how you're utilizing and what you're putting out on your social media, right? Your Instagram, your Facebook page, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, whatever platform it is that you use needs to be on brand. So what does that actually mean? Well, it starts in the bio. It starts in the visual images you're putting out there. I always recommend for any entrepreneur that they should have a portfolio of brand images that you can push out on social media that are professional and that are aligned with your brand. And the reason for that is you want to show up professionally in every arena. You want to be perceived as somebody who cares about their image and who cares about what they're putting out there and has taken the time, invested the money in really creating some imagery behind the business. So I always recommend creating a portfolio of images that you can use on your social media. A profile picture is key, right? You want something that you can use on LinkedIn as a profile picture, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on your website as your business profile picture. And to keep it all consistent is really important too. I always like to use the same picture on each of those platforms, because what ends up happening is it ends up becoming recognizable, right? People see you pop up in different arenas and they go, oh, I know who that is. That's what you want, right? You want that brand recognition. I'd love for Rick to chime in here, because Rick works with entrepreneurs and he creates visuals for them with images and photographs, like he has for many of the Waist Up Wardrobe images. Actually, all those thumbnails you guys see, those were taken by Rick and composed by me and taken by Rick. And those are professionally done and definitely something we put out as part of the Waist Up Wardrobe brand. So Rick, I kind of want your take on that, talking about imagery, because I know this is part of your wheelhouse, is sort of taking photography and how important that is for a business owner to have a portfolio of images that they push out on their social and digital world.
Yeah, I think it's real important as far as brand recognition. It's just like think of it as like having a digital, I forget what you call it now, letterhead, right? So your logo, your signage, your messaging can be on that. Look at the show right here. You have a little Waist Up Wardrobe bug up in the upper right-hand corner. Yeah. You see the news feeds where theirs is, they may have it in one of the corners and it's kind of subtle. Now you see a lot of other stuff going on when they have the news scroll going on while the person is talking. I think that's a little busy, but going back to your comment, yeah, I think it's really important, because subtly it just reinforces your brand, and it can be just a simple logo, really simple logo. It doesn't even have to have any words on it. There's a lot of different kinds of logos that are just image based. They're just a graphic. Nike, for example, we all recognize the swoosh, right? And so if it's present on your channel, on a video that you have, then I think over time, just people kind of get used, without even thinking, they may be just listening, and then they happen to glance at the screen. And it's like, oh yeah, that's Waist Up Wardrobe, because I recognize the red dress, So yeah. It's. I think I made the comment last episode about real estate agents where, it takes about 37 touches before they get contacted. And so just think of this as just another touch on everything that you do.
Everything is a touch, right? Everything is a little tickle about what your business is. And so you bring up a good point about the logo, right? The logo bug you have on my screen. We use that. I use that for my branding materials, like stickers on deliverables and things like that. But also the image, like taking that profile picture, right? I always recommend that profile picture, a professional profile picture that can be used on your LinkedIn, on all those platforms, and to use the same one. Do you have an opinion about that? Just because it pops up in these different arenas and people start going, oh, that's the person I saw on Instagram,
Yeah, I would find one that's like, your best headshot that you feel comfortable with, that you feel like you have the most energy, you look great in it, and use that consistently across your social media platforms. And then, as your look may change, then think about updating it with another photograph. But I wouldn't recommend to use different photographs at different times on different platforms, because then sometimes it gets a little confusing. Even the same person in a different view can look different, right?
And you bring a really good point up. This is something I see all the time that I wonder why people do this. Outdated pictures. Like I'll see an entrepreneur and they'll have like a picture when they were in their 40s and now they're like 60, and they look so different. And I think that that's such a mistake, because you want people to see who you are. You don't want them to be shocked by how you show up, and then you look like a totally different person. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think some of it is vanity, where maybe they don't look as good as they did 10, 15 years ago, right?
Or they don't do.
Yeah, I mean they just have that one favorite favorite headshot that they did back 10, 15 years ago. Or the other thing that I find is that they're just lazy and they just don't carve out the time to get a new one, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a project, right? Getting portfolio, like a branding portfolio done, is work, but it's so worth it because it really shows you as somebody who's professional and you care. So when I recommend photography, and we've worked together on this before, Rick, is I like them to really work on getting a profile picture, that great headshot. I always recommend I like people who are entrepreneurs or business owners to show up in a blazer or something structured, because instantly that up levels credibility. So when you're trying to figure out, like, take your pictures for your profile picture, really think about, this is the ultimate shot that you want people to see you in your element. Maybe you're wearing your brand colors. Maybe you're wearing a dress that just is super professional. Maybe you're wearing a blazer that up levels your credibility, but it really has to be like your best.
Yeah.
And that's what I recommend. But then, you have the bio, and then you have the about page. And so there are other pictures you can take and use different pictures there for variety. But
here's another thing you want to consider too, while you're saying that, is that, let's say you're at a networking event, or at a mastermind or something like that, and you meet up somebody for the first time, and you send them to the website for resources, or you say, connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn, right? And you have an outdated photo. Well, they just stood there in front of you and they saw your glow, they saw how you looked, and now you have this thing that makes you look 20 years younger. There's like, okay, you're not practicing what you're preaching here.
It's a disconnect. It's a real disconnect. And that's the part of keeping your brand clear and consistent, right? It is a disconnect. So when you are trying to create sort of those online presence, that digital material and content that you're putting out, think about your photographs, right? You want a great profile picture, super professional, get one done in a great blazer or a great dress in a great color that is maybe on brand for you, or is a color that suits you, and use that as your headshot. Make sure not to use like headshots that are homemade, because those are those are just shows that you're not serious about your work. You don't want something. I know sometimes we have pictures of ourselves that we take that we think we look really good in, but a professional headshot is really important if you are running your business. And like I said, you want to have a portfolio of pictures, because you might want to change it up for your about page. You want to change it up for some of the other pages that maybe you show up in on your website. So keep that in mind when you're creating that brand portfolio. And so let's move into like some of the things that you would say. Let's talk about Instagram. With Instagram, as well as with Facebook, you will have the opportunity to present a bio or a couple words or sentences about yourself. And in that bio, you want to sort of highlight what it is that you do, maybe something interesting about you. So think about, how you're going to connect to your audience. And I always tell people, you want to think about what makes you extraordinary and what makes you ordinary. The things that make you extraordinary are those things that are going to make you stand out like the expert. People are going to come to you because you're extraordinary in a certain thing, and they want to hear what you have to say and get your advice, right? And the things that make you ordinary make you relatable. So, a bio might say something like, I am, a lawyer turned image consultant. In one sentence, it says what I do. And then it says, and I love mac and cheese, because that's something about me. So think about when you're creating those bios in Instagram or in Facebook, think about what is going to make you stand out as the expert, what makes you extraordinary, and what's going to make you relatable and ordinary, so that people can feel can relate to you and want to hear what you have to say. And Rick, I really like to use this example a lot about, they always talk about authenticity in social media. You want to be authentic. You don't want to be fake. You don't want to look perfect, all that stuff. And I truly believe that that is sort of the distinction between being ordinary and extraordinary. And you have to be both as somebody who owns a business. You have to be extraordinary in the field that you are. So people want to listen to you and say, oh, why am I even listening to you as an expert? And you want to be a little bit ordinary because you want them to relate to you. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's where, especially when you're doing video or even like a podcast like this, I think when you do a podcast like this, over time, you tend to, okay, now you're used to it, right? The nerves are kind of gone. You're not trying to put on an act and portray somebody that you're not, right? And your natural self starts to come out. Well, when you do a video, you have to try and do the same thing, right? And that's why I try and put somebody in the mindset that I want to see your natural you. You don't feel like you're performing for an audience out there. They just want to know who you are. And I know you help a lot of people in the way they dress. I help a lot of people in the way they pitch themselves, right? Whether directly or indirectly. And so all those components are really important when you're doing video online, and whether it's long form, short form, whatever it is. I mean, you just have to kind of be, you have to think about it. You have to be conscious about that, because that's a lot of times it's people forget about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's so important. And, when I help clients create their bios, we do some digging deep, tell me some things that are unique about you. What are your hobbies? Some of the things that will make people relate to them. What would you enjoy doing? People want to hear that personal stuff about us. In fact, a lot of things on Instagram that get more traction are the things that are personal about the business owner rather than any of the pitching that they do online, right? So those are the things that you want to share through your social media platform so people get to know who you are. It also relates to your values and why you're doing what you do. And some people might say, well, but that personal stuff isn't brand, but it is, because your brand is a personal brand and you are both of those things. You're not only a business brand, you're also a personal brand, and people want to see how you live, what you do, who your family is. They want to see things like that so they can relate to you and see you as a human being too.
Yeah. I like the comment that you made about, when you write stuff up about in your bio about personal things. I mean, doesn't have to be super personal things. I mean, it could be like you said, you're a mac and cheese lover, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's something that you are striving for in the future, like you want to be a pilot or you want to be something, So I am a future pilot or a future whatever it is, and it just kind of shows that, okay, in what you're doing, you have a goal out there that you want to attain, and hey, I want to bring people along for the rides and uncover what's the goal that you have in your business. Let me help you achieve that by whatever it is that you do. And so it's okay to share those types of things. I always, and Tammy and I always go out and dream build, right? We've always done that with our kids. They didn't understand it at first, but it's such a fun thing to do, and it could be things that you'll never get or never achieve, but it's okay to look at stuff, because it's like
a visualization, like a vision board kind of
no
thing?
like, so for instance, we used to go out before I bought a BMW, right? I had a friend who was a BMW salesperson, right? And back in the day, and this is maybe 10 years ago, their dealership had a program where you could loan the 740 IL for a day, right? You just sign it out, just drop your license and insurance, and then you had it for the day. And so it's like, wow, I didn't even know that existed. So, we went out and got a brand new one, and we just cruised around with it, and they just kind of, drove around, felt great in the car and all that stuff. And then eventually we ended up, getting a BMW, but it's things like that. Or, we would go into houses, right? Just go on open houses where it was just outside of our budget, right? And we would go into these places and just kind of like imagine ourselves in being something like this, someday. Or maybe it was a boat, or maybe it was an RV or something like that you always wanted to get. And we teach our kids it's okay to go out and just kind of envision yourself in that, because somehow, maybe someday, you might be able to achieve that. But if it's not in front of you, just like a vision board, if it's not in front of you, then it's out of mind and you have nothing to shoot for.
Right, exactly. And so that is interesting. I've never heard anybody say like to put something in your bio that will or in your material that will show people something you're aiming for, something you want to achieve. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you always go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. So I just remembered. So I used to have in my bio, and in fact, it was on my license plate at the time on this BMW. I had heard somebody from stage talking about be a long dreamer, right? Be a long dreamer, which meant, at first I didn't understand what that meant, but it's like, it's okay to dream. It's okay to dream, about everything, about things that maybe you want in the future. And so he termed it be a long dreamer. And so my license plate was long dreamer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is what, as business owners, we do. We visualize what we want to achieve, because that's what gets us there. So I love that. I love that you can incorporate in some of your, online presence, things that you're trying to achieve, because it also encourages other people around you to achieve. It's like you want to let your audience in. What do they want to know about you? What do they not know about you, that you want to let them know? And those are the things that you want to put out in your digital world, on your Instagram, in your Facebook. As an entrepreneur, people always wonder, like, is your personal Facebook page important? Yes, because if somebody meets you anywhere, let's say you're at a dinner and somebody meets you and you start talking about what you do, and you tell them the first thing they're going to do if they really want to know more about you is they're going to go to Facebook probably and look up your name. They're not going to look up your business name. They might not remember that, but they'll look up your name. And in there, you want to allude to the things that you do. You also want to express who you are, your values, maybe some personal things about you because it's personal, but some business stuff too. And it's just keeping it consistent, right? Your personal brand is your brand. Everything you do impacts your brand. So that is really important. So what does your ideal audience want to know about you, that that you think they want to know about you, that you want to put that out there to get to know them better, for them to get to know you? So remember, we're talking about keeping the brand consistent, keeping the online presence and digital presence consistent. We talked about, photography, your profile picture, your about page picture. Those things are really valuable to invest in and to take great pictures so that you could put it out there and show up professionally. Make sure you don't show up like in an outdated picture. We talked about the bios, that's sort of that first engagement when people land on your social media platforms. Like what do they read about you on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram, on your Facebook, right? What do they read about you? What makes you ordinary, so they can relate to you? What makes you extraordinary, so then they know you're an expert in your field, right? What does your avatar, your target market, not know about you that you want them to know about you? So think about that and intersperse that in your website design, in your social media platforms, and make sure all those platforms are consistent with one another, right? Same pictures throughout, same logo throughout, colors kind of in harmony. Another thing I want to talk about, which is really important and is really part of your digital presence, is video marketing. And I'm going to say Rick is sort of the guru of this. Video marketing to brand yourself is so important. It's gotten more and more important now, and it's what people are doing on Instagram and the Reels. It's what you're seeing on TikTok. It's about creating a professional video with your brand video. It's about creating going live on on Facebook, impromptu, to give people tips and value videos. So many important things when it comes to video marketing. And remember, the same holds true for your video marketing. You want those to be aligned with your brand. You want them to represent who you are. You want to be dressed professionally, or at least aligned with your profession. And you want to be giving value videos. And Rick, I really would love for you to talk on this, because a lot of what I've learned at the beginning, and you helped me with this, was when you are creating video for your social media platforms as a business owner, you want to give, and be the go-giver. And then you can ask, right? You want to give, and then ask. Mm-hmm. And we did a lot of that through video, value videos, just giving people value videos, tips on what to do in certain situations, what to wear, what not to wear, all those things from my perspective. But most business owners should be doing those kind of things, value videos, videos about their brand, videos about, even personal videos that align with the brand. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the video branding part.
Yeah, I think that's really important. We started off with the basics back when we met, and one of the first things that we started designing was a branding video, right? And an about me type of video. And so that's a little bit longer form. It's a little bit takes a little bit more planning and thought to do something like that. But I think that's really important. It should be authentic. It should be original. It should be you, right? And not rehearsed, not scripted too much. I mean, sometimes people have a problem with that, but there are ways to get around so it doesn't sound scripted. It's more conversational. And then you have the value videos that you were talking about. And if you sprinkle those throughout your sales and marketing, materials, then if you've created enough value in those short form videos where you're teaching, for instance, we did a bunch of these top 10 tips, right? And the majority of those were nonverbal. They were just music, and then they would have a graphic, and then they'd show you in that certain dress or certain outfit, and then we'd do a quick change, and then boom, then do all 10, right? And so it kind of gives people an idea of that. And so whatever that value video is, do a bunch of them, sprinkle them out there, spread them out a little bit in your marketing strategy, and then the ultimate goal of that is by doing these value videos. By the time you get to that 37th touch or whatever it is, in your industry, then when it comes time to selling your service or your product, the person on the other side who's been watching you, right? It's like, wow, I mean, I've been getting so much value out of this person for free. I wonder what I'm going to get for when I do pay for it, because there's just so much stuff. I can't wait to find out, because I really need that person or that service. Yeah. And so that's kind of the goal when you're setting up your video marketing strategy. So it's not just a one video and you're done. It's an ongoing thing. It's ongoing, and you, because your industry changes, it adapts, and it changes from season to season. And so you try and market to those different seasons, and it's all about, like you said, just giving them boatloads of value so they feel like, man, you're giving this away for free. Holy cow, and then when it comes time to pay, it's not a big deal.
Right. No, so important. I think video is so important for your online presence and digital presence. I mean, and right now there's so many platforms that facilitate making video. You almost don't even have to do a professional video. Mm-hmm. It's nice to have a professional video on your site. And I think video can speak volumes and louder than words in copy. Explaining what you do in a video is much more powerful, probably because people are more likely to listen to video than read the copy about what you do. But it's just everyday video, like the homemade videos, the going live on Facebook to give people tips, the going on creating reels to push out to people, and TikTok and all those things. So important to spread the word in the digital world, right?
Yeah, and now with reels, you have 30 seconds. You have a 30-second commercial opportunity, right? Wow. To use it in any shape or form. I mean, I've been watching these young pilots because I'm going back to getting my certification again for flying. And I've been watching these young pilots who have been flying not too long. They just recently bought their planes, small single engine planes, and they talk about they're not, I don't know what it is they're selling, but they do such a good job. Whether they're coming in for a landing, or they're looking at instrumentation, or they're talking about instrument landing procedures or something like that. Within 30 seconds, like for me, I'm just captivated by that stuff, right? It's like,
you mean they're doing it on a video?
Yeah, they're doing it on a phone, a lot of, it's a lot of educational stuff. That's what it is, whether it's a GoPro or a phone. But I like seeing the behind the scenes stuff of that type of thing. And so for me, that's like, it's captivating, kind of draws me in even more to want to get that goal again, of getting my private license. So
totally.
Mm-hmm.
So this online presence, this digital way of showing up is so important for business owners, for building a brand that stands out. Remember, I would love to get on a call with you, and with the hashtag online and shine, if you put that in the comments, we can actually talk about this, where I can help you figure out how to align your bio information across your across your platforms, and give you some tips on how to really stand out as a brand. I do that with many of my brand styling clients, and it is something that really makes a big difference. So the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up is number one. The number one takeaway is your online presence, your digital material that you put out there is the way you spread your story. It's the way that you spread the brand story. It's the way you touch people so that they get engaged with you and find you. Remember, a tip to remember is that people want to know that you're ordinary, you're a little bit ordinary, and you're a little bit extraordinary. The part that makes you extraordinary makes you the expert. The part that makes you ordinary makes you relatable. And they want to see both those things come through in your digital and online presence. So in your bio, sprinkling it in your bio, on your website, in your Instagram feed, on Reels, wherever you want to sprinkle your expertise and how you are just like them, that's going to get your audience to want to engage with you. And that's part of your online presence, right? And a tool to use is really think about using, take one or two of the social media platforms, right? Like Instagram and Facebook, and create a bios and some imagery that is consistent across the platform. So if somebody goes to your Facebook page and also goes to your Instagram, there's some consistencies there where your brand can stand out and people kind of recognize it. That's really a really good tool to use to get more visibility as a brand. And finally, action item. Take inventory of your current online presence, okay? Take inventory of that, figure out what your digital impression is right now, and think about it. Where can you do better? Do you need to get some branding photographs? Do you need to get some value videos out there? Do you want to create a branding video? How else are you going to communicate with your audience digitally and create a better, more on-brand online presence? Okay, that's your action item. So I am so excited that you're here for this fourth episode on the brand styling modules. Next week, we will do our final module on the customer journey and how you can carry your clients through a customer journey that is on brand and aligned with everything that you value and what your core values are. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, we're here every Thursday at 11:30, live most of the time. Sometimes we pre-record, but that's only few and far between. We are almost always live here at 11:30 on Thursday. So consider joining us again next Thursday and invite a friend.